looking at are the difficulties facing graduate teachers in our school context, which is quite a unique context and situation here. And hopefully, by doing that, we're going to combat the high staff turnover that we've experienced and build some of our graduate teachers up. So as I mentioned when we met last week, I've been prompted to look at the root causes underpinning the issues that are facing graduate teachers here in our community and in our school, in the hope that we can build them up and fix some of these problems for the next intake of graduate teachers, which is next year. So I appreciate you agreeing to work with me on this.
Happy to.
Cool. Alright. So teaching is tough, I'm sure you'd agree, especially as a new graduate when you're still finding your feet and trying to figure things out. So what I'd like us to do together is have a look at the things that you have found difficult this year as a new graduate. So you've progressed and obviously come a long way since you first began. We're now in term 3. But I want you to think back to when you first accepted your position here at the school. So before you even arrived in community, and what were some of those early challenges and things that you found difficult then?
So yeah, it was just leaving my home,
coming all the way up into far north Queensland.
wasn't much communication between
Myself and the rest of the community.
In fact, there was nothing. I only spoke to the
Department and the principal.
so I just did not know who to talk to, who to communicate with. Left my family. I didn't know what to bring. Didn't know whether to bring my car or not.
All the resources I needed
I didn't know what was available
for the town and the
community that I was going to live in.
So you mentioned that you spoke to the principal. You didn't speak to any of the other staff that were at the school?
No, there's no one.
And
No one else put in contact with.
Right, yeah. And is there a reason that you couldn't ask these questions of the principal? Or you just didn't feel comfortable?
Yeah, I thought, maybe they're too busy or
Yeah.
they're silly questions. Or
Yeah. Alright, so once you arrived in community, so I know this is a while ago, but can you remember what some of those early challenges were? So perhaps when you arrived before school started and then in the very first couple of days of school.
Okay, yeah. I just remember my uplift not coming straight away.
Oh, your furniture and stuff.
Yeah, I was 2 weeks with nothing.
Right.
So I arrived a week before school. So I went into the first week of PD's meetings.
Not having all my stuff, all my belongings. So that was tough.
However, I did meet all the staff straight away, and everyone was really nice. It was just
Hard to
find my feet straight away. So it was a bit of a hard start, but once I found my feet, it was alright.
And did you arrive at a similar time to the other new graduates?
Yeah, we all some of us flew in together.
Yeah.
So standing at the airport, we sort of started talking, and then eventually
we hung out that night.
But yeah, it was a long couple of weeks.
So your first contact with people at the school were other people that didn't know what was happening.
Yeah, that was starting to.
Alright. And so as the year has progressed, what have been your biggest challenges?
Back then I was still trying to find who to talk to. Like there was me, myself, the other new people,
The established teachers, principal, all the leadership. But I was still just sort of clinging to the people I knew at the start.
and we were all sort of just bouncing the ideas off each other.
Amongst the graduates?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so there's no one to go to.
Right. And what about in your job? You're obviously a lot more confident as a teacher now, but what have some of the challenges been in your classroom or in your teaching?
Yeah, so
Obviously there's behaviour issues. However, there's still that lack of support from
anyone.
Yeah,
I just want someone that I can just go to and know that they're going to help me without being a burden.
Yeah, I get what you mean. Now that we've spoken about some of the challenges, I would like to propose a user-led design approach to solving this problem.
Okay.
So what that is you as the user are best placed to identify your own needs and perhaps combat some of the challenges. Obviously, you have done it on your own, but we can create this and put it in place for the next intake of new graduate teachers. So let's discuss some possible solutions to the challenges that you have outlined. So you said that early on you didn't know who to contact for information. So what may have helped you in that situation? So you had contact with the principal,
Yeah.
but it wasn't what you needed.
Yeah. Like I said, I just want someone that I can go to. They're going to be expecting my silly questions, and hopefully they can answer them.
Okay.
So just someone, or a team, or
Yeah.
Yeah.
Someone whose job it is
yeah.
to help you out. Ideally, the work that we're doing here will lead to a program being put in place for next year for the next lot of new graduates. But for now, I would like to propose that we conduct a short-term trial or an experiment. This experiment will serve as a pilot and will allow us to measure the impact of the proposals that you've made. So you have said, or you proposed, that perhaps having a certain person
Yeah.
whose job it was to answer your questions and to help you figure out how to be a teacher, that may have helped you.
Yep.
Yep.
Sure, yeah.
Alright, so we as a school are now moving into our assessment period. So I would like to propose that in this assessment period, I will act as your mentor,
Okay. Yeah.
and I'm going to help you through it as a mentor would.
Sure.
So
I
we're-
can come to you.
Any questions?
All right.
So we'll make a couple of meeting times, and yeah, we'll see how we go. So all of your questions are for me,
Okay.
alright? And if I don't know how to answer them, I'm going to find the person that does,
Yeah.
alright? Because learning or being a new graduate is stressful enough without people helping you out. Alright, so how are we going to measure the success of this?
From me.
Yeah,
Alright.
so this is to help combat the challenges that you have had. So how will you be able to see if this has helped or not?
Guess like if I can come straight to you
For answers, and I'm receiving those answers, and it's
Mhm.
helping me.
Mhm.
So obviously, I reckon that's going to work.
Awesome. Alright, so for the purpose of this and the potential opportunity to take this to our leadership team and say that this is what our school needs, I would like us to record some reflections.
Yep.
So I want you to say perhaps what some of your challenges have been leading up to now, and then we will be able to see if some of those challenges are alleviated
So
through
like,
this.
yeah. So how they were without a mentor, and how they are with the
Yeah.
mentor. Yep.
And if it has been helpful or not. And if not, that's fine. Like that's
What would it?
an outcome as well.
Yep.
Alright? So we're happy with that?
Yeah. That's good.
Alright, cool. Alright, so we've had our experiment period.
Yep.
In which I played as your mentor. So what is your overall feeling after doing that?
Yeah, it was good, especially through that assessment period.
That's
Like-
a tough time.
Especially and because I had that time off.
Yep.
So there's a lot of catch up.
Yeah.
So yeah, coming to someone with the questions and getting the answers,
and even just helping like
for all the data
Mhm.
into one school.
Yep.
That was a big help.
Awesome. Alright, so they were some of the successes. Weaknesses. What were some of the weaknesses of this? And you're not going to hurt my feelings.
Yeah, like I guess because at the time the other graduates didn't have someone to go to.
Yep.
It's a little bit awkward
Yeah.
to have you as my mentor.
planning. You know how we planned to have meetings from like a fortnight away or like the next 3
Like
weeks.
well in advance.
Yeah, that was hard to sort of plan for. Like, I'd often forget about it. And
Yeah.
go, oh no, I've got that meeting.
And things come up at school, hey, so you
Yeah.
sort of need it to be a bit more flexible maybe?
Yeah, a bit more relaxed, like
Casual, yeah.
casual, yeah. So, like, there was a couple times where we met, and it was just like, oh yeah, how's this, how's that, and that was good.
Sort of, yeah, casual passing chats
Yeah.
and stuff like that.
But I guess a more formal sit down would be good every now and then.
Yeah.
But yeah, something
Maybe
more
not as
casual.
often.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Awesome. So, what do you think our major challenges to sustainability of this plan would be moving forward? So, say that we took this to our school and said, "This is what we want to do for all new graduates." How can we make sure that it's going to be a sustainable thing, that it can actually happen and be upkept?
Getting the right staff
Involved, I guess.
As mentors?
Yeah.
Right, okay.
Um,
What do you mean by that?
well, you don't want. I guess you don't want someone that's not approachable.
Yeah.
You want
someone that's willing to help and genuinely wants to help.
Mm-hmm.
So people that perhaps have the time.
Yeah.
To spare and to give to the program.
And I guess it's the mentor's there to be a mentor. It's not like a extra job. It's not like
It is a responsibility,
But they're not being made to do
they
it.
can't be made to do it, and they also can't be forced / taken away from. Like leadership can't just come and say, "Oh, you can't do that right now. You got to be doing this." Like
So you mean like it needs to be prioritised?
yeah.
So
Yeah, I
if
guess,
you
yeah.
had like a meeting with your mentor, they need to prioritise that and not be pulled away for other
Yeah.
things.
Yeah.
All right, yeah, that makes sense.
All right. This has been really helpful.
So thank you for working with me.
No worries.